Chapter 98. Truth. George. Come lie in bed and cuddle with us, said Mommy. I just need to get my briefcase first, I said. I then went to the side of the bed and got the briefcase with the cure in it. What is in that, Mommy asked. Oh, I'll tell you later, I answered. I then lunged into the bed and Mommy and Daddy began hugging me. I am sorry about all this, I said. Did you know anything about it, asked Mommy. About what? I asked. The return, answered Mommy. No, not until the police showed up outside Robbinsog, I answered. Honest? Daddy asked. Honest, I answered. So how did she lure you into her, Daddy asked. Remember that note where you held us hostage because Dr. Marcassius went up to Howard without your permission, I asked. Marcus, said Mommy. Yes, I said. Yes, I do remember it, I answered Mommy. Well, that was the beginning of it, I answered. So what did it escalate to, Daddy asked. Remember when Marcus hacked your credit cards and booked the hotels between Chicago and Orlando, I asked. Yes, answered Mommy. It wasn't him, it was the return, I said. What? Mommy asked. She hacked it to set up the clues located the stops we made on our road trip between Chicago and Orlando. That is why we made the hotel stops we did, along with some of the other tourist stops we did, I answered. What was he luring you in for, Mommy asked. I'll tell you in a few minutes. I just want some cuddle time with you first, I answered. Okay, said Mommy with a smile. Mom even kissed my forehead. I just want the time with you before I go to jail, I said. You look nice in that cloak, said Daddy. Thanks, I said back to Daddy. You are welcome, said Daddy. There was a pause as my mommy was was adjusting to a more, sitting position. She looked beautiful in that black tank top and that white shorter skirt. Are we still going to Orlando? I asked. I think you know the answer to that, answered Mommy. I do, I just wanted to ask you first, I said. Okay, said Mommy. There was a pause as Daddy began tapping me. What is it, Daddy? What is it, Daddy? I asked. I don't want you feeling bad about you going to jail, answered Daddy. Why? I asked. Because you know why. This was a trick. You were her accomplices, and because of it, but I doubt that you will get a long sentence, said Daddy. He did take out a lot of cops, said Mommy. I know, but it was self-defense, said Daddy. Have you missed a lot of work, I asked. No, answered Daddy. Are you lying to me, I asked. No, I don't lie to my kids, answered Daddy. Then why do they lie to us, Mommy asked. What? Daddy asked. Marcus lied to us and said he hacked our credit card but didn't, answered Mommy. Then that got Daddy a little suspicious. What happened with those notes? Daddy asked. They were clues, I said. Clues? Daddy asked. They started out with 3 riddles, which lists the instructions for we had to stop at on our road trip to Orlando that the return set up, and then we had to solve logic problems on the way to and from Orlando, which led us to a public storage in Evanston, and which led to another scavenger hunt, which led to a code me and Sam cracked along with clues, the return place for Dr. Marcassius and Hannah in 3 different hotel rooms, and they were in New York City, I answered. My Mommy and Daddy then had looks of absolute horror on their faces. She was stalking us? Daddy asked. Yes, I answered quietly. Why didn't you tell us? Mommy asked. I can't tell you yet, I said. Why? Daddy asked. Because then we'll give away what the contents are of what was in that briefcase, I answered. Now, Mommy and Daddy were scared. Give me the briefcase, said Daddy. No, I said. Then finish this up, said Daddy. Okay, so let me tell you what is really going on, I said. Let him speak, Marvin. Let him speak, said Mommy. Thank you, I said. But get to it, said Mommy. So that riddle that you held us hostage for was the beginning of it all. We know that, said Daddy. Well, here's what you don't know. The other 2 were placed into Sam and George's lockers at their schools, I said. What? Mommy asked. I'm going to beat the shit out of her, said Daddy. Don't, said Mommy. Why? Daddy asked. Let's hear George out, said Mommy. Fine, said Daddy. So the clues led us to the instructions for treasure hunt we had to do on our drive from Chicago to Orlando, I said. We know that, said Daddy. Hold on, said Mommy. Hold on to what? I asked. How did it impact our trip exactly? Mommy asked. It led us to our hotel stops. And do you remember that we had to stop at the first service plaza on the Florida Turnpike on the way back up? I asked. Yes, answered Mommy. Yes, Daddy also answered. That was for Marcus to make a phone call to the return to make sure that the return would be willing to adjust her schedule for us, I said. What? Mommy asked. The return was stalking us on a vacation, Daddy asked. Yes, I answered. She better have a good reason, said Daddy. She better, said Mommy. Believe me, she does, I said. Then what is the reason, Daddy asked. The reason is good, and it will make our lives better forever, I said. It better be, said Daddy. So Marcus is willing to have you bully him just so he could cover up the return and what was going on. And all those times we had to go to a secret spot, which was Garfield Park Conservatory, was because of this, I said. I see, said Mommy. So what you said you were supposed to cover up? So on Marcus's birthday, when you sent him to his room before he called you, Sam, Hannah, and I went up to the public storage in Evanston, I said. What did you find? Daddy asked. We went to a unit that has a treasure chest that's currently being stored in Marcus's room that had a note regarding the next part of the treasure hunt, and the diaries numbered 18 to 40, I answered. Mom even had a little bit of a look of concern on her face. Are you okay, Mommy? I asked. Yes, answered Mommy. Are you sure? Asked Daddy. Yes, answered Mommy. So we then had to go on a scavenger hunt regarding those diaries that took us all over the Chicago metropolitan area, in particular in the Cicero area. You had to spend the night at a stranger's house because that was where your Uncle Michael's house in Cicero was, I said. Wait, you spent the night at a stranger's house? Mommy asked loudly. She bothered people neither she or I knew? Daddy asked loudly. Yes and yes, I answered. Go on, and she better have a good reason for all of this, Daddy said with anger in his voice. Well, this is on President's Day weekend. We were spending the night at night with that house. Were the strangers nice to you? Were the strangers nice to you? Yes, their names are Jerry and Peggy. They're in their late 50s, I answered. I see, said Daddy. So what did those diaries lead you to? Mommy asked. 40 led us to Navy Pier, where we met the return for the very first time, I answered. Mommy then breathed a sigh of relief.